everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are joining us. I am very excited to welcome all of you to the 14th World Scout Youth Forum. My name is Diana Carrillo. I am from Mexico, and I am the chairperson of this youth forum. I remember being a youth forum participant and a youth advisor candidate at the last World Scout Youth Forum 4 years ago. I was a bit nervous, to be honest, but also very excited to learn and to make new friends from all over the world. So I hope that you are as excited as I am and looking forward to participating in this first ever virtual World Scout Youth Forum. Let me also introduce the vice chairperson of this forum, my friend Mori from Hong Kong. We are youth advisors to the World Scout Committee and members of our national Scout organizations. But during this World Scout Youth Forum, we are not here as part of any delegation, but as independent chairs with the task of lead you through this forum. So before we start our plenary, our very first plenary of the day, let's take a look at some practical and useful announcements.
Dear friends in Scouting, this event has been prepared to be a positive and engaging experience of education and decision-making for the future of World Scouting. We want to make this event meaningful and enjoyable for you. To be as inclusive as possible, we offer all the plenary sessions in our official WUSM languages, English and French. To do so, go to Session Information and click on the Interprefy button. You can then select the language in which you would like to follow for the plenary session. If you have any challenges, please reach out to our dedicated help desk team. On the platform's bottom right corner, you will see the help icon. Here, you can get access and connect with the support team. Delegates are entitled to ask their questions related to the plenary discussions using the live Q&A section. We will do our best to address all your questions either through written responses or directly on stage. You can also use the discussion forum to interact with other participants, speakers, and chairpersons. All participants will be muted during the plenary. If you wish to intervene, raise your hand to talk, and our production team will bring you to the stage. You will need to accept our invitation to join the green room, where our team will test your microphone. And when you're invited to the green room, we also encourage you to turn on your camera to get to know you and best represent the diversity of our movement. Abusive behavior of any kind that leads to harm, prejudice, discrimination, or harassment against any person will not be tolerated during the World Scout Youth Forum. We have safe from harm procedures in place to make sure everyone feels safe and welcomed during this event. If you need any further information, please check scoutconference.org/safefromharm. If you feel unsafe at any moment while participating in the World Scout Youth Forum, please share your concerns by emailing safeforum@scout.org or reach out to a listening ear available at the events. To keep you well informed throughout the forum, you will find the agenda and links to different sessions on the event's participation platform. We will also use the official World Scout Youth Forum website as a communication channel. This plenary session is being streamed live on YouTube and Facebook and will be made available on the platform afterwards for you to see. Let's start our plenary session by welcoming our chairpersons. Enjoy your World Scout Youth Forum.
Now that we know how the digital platform works, I hope that you will be able to follow and participate fully in this forum. It is the first time in history of Scouting that we have a virtual youth forum. It is a Scout event, and with that, we have a true Scout spirit activated, and so we are learning by doing. Please be patient with us. We also want to recognize that there were some technical glitches during the international teams meeting prior in the day. We apologize sincerely for that inconvenience, and we will give you further guidance on how to join your international team by the end of our plenary session. You may wonder where Mori and I am. With the restrictions of this global pandemic and following all security measures, a small team of people were brought to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates to ensure the quality of the delivery of this event. Friends, we are here to build bridges. And this was a challenging extended triennium, but we look forward to a brighter future ahead of us. So let's keep this spirit in mind during our next forum days. And even if we're not traveling physically to the forum, it has been a journey for all of us to get here. To show you how some of the participants have got ready for this forum, we have prepared a short video for you.
I will be participating in the upcoming 14th World Scout Youth Forum. I'm taking time to prepare myself by reading and understanding the Youth Forum documents available on the website. And of course, following up on the updates about the forum on the different social media platforms. Additionally, I have been staying connected with my contingent by synchronizing our thoughts and inputs on the views of the young people in terms of their needs and the issues they would like to see discussed.
Hi, I'm Mia and I'm from Liechtenstein, and this is how I prepare myself for the 14th World Scout Youth Forum. First, I read through the conference documents and familiarized myself with how this online conference is going to work. And had online meetings with my delegation to discuss all the documents. Also, I was lucky to connect with other youth delegates from other nations, where we shared our thoughts on this upcoming conference. Can't wait for the 14th World Scout Youth Forum. So I am counting down the days.
Hey, what's up? My name is Joshua Squirrel, and I'm a delegate on the BSA's contingent to the World Scout Youth Forum and World Scout Conference. I'm here today to talk a little bit about how I'm preparing for our 2 weeks together virtually. I'm going to start by sitting behind my trusty computer, reading up on all that WASM's been up to, as well as our NSOs. I'm going to make sure I know all the candidates and what they're about before we elect them, and read through all of our resolutions. I'm also going to check in on our goals, both past and future.
Hello! This is how I'm preparing for the Encamping Scouts Youth Forum. I'm making sure to read and discuss all the forum documents with my delegation and attend the different pre-engagement webinar. I'm super excited for this digital forum. See you all there!
Hi everyone, this is Lim Wei Yong from the Singapore Scout Association. As we travel to the World Scout Youth Forum, our delegation has met through virtual means like Zoom, Google Meet, or even WhatsApp. We have met several times among ourselves and also with other NSOs to discuss topics such as the draft resolutions. We are interested and excited to meet old friends and also to establish and meet new friends virtually in the upcoming days and weeks. Hope to see you there.
What a journey it has been for all of us to get here. The first ever virtual World Scout Youth Forum would not be possible without an amazing team of people who work day and night across all time zones, given their time and dedications to this event. Together with Deanna and myself, a huge round of virtual applause to the other members of the planning team. We have Ahmed Avadawi from Egypt, We have Nora Makhadi from Algeria. We have Sarah Monique from France. We have Radeo Date from Niger. We have Anastasia Aurora from Moldova. We have Sarah Rita Katan, member of the World Scout Committee and the liaison of the World Scout Youth Forum. And last but not least, we have Carla Simons, Youth Program Director at the World Scout Bureau. They are all on screen here to say hi to every one of you. May I also take this opportunity to present you the youth advisors to the World Scout Committee. Together again with Deanna and myself, we have Martimir from Liechtenstein, Amal Gratin from Tunisia, Edgar Marumbu from Kenya, and Julius Kramer from Sweden. We are truly grateful that we are all part of the team in the last 4 years and what we have all contributed to the movement. Thank you so much for you being here. At this juncture, let us invite Deanna to say her formal welcoming remarks to the forum. Deanna, are you ready? Let's all give Deanna a round of applause. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mori. Thank you. Dear fellow Scouts, once again, welcome. My name is Diana Carrillo. I am from Mexico, and I am one of the youth advisors to the World Scout Committee. It is my pleasure and honor to address you today as the chairperson of this first virtual and the biggest youth forum ever in the history of World Scouting. It is incredible to be with almost 800 young people from all the corners of the globe. Let me start by thanking all of you to have the courage to be here today, representing your nations and communities, making history with us, and willing to engage in fruitful discussions that will impact the future of Scouting. I also want to take this opportunity to thank, again, the wonderful planning team that have organized this event for the past 3 years. It would have been impossible without all of your contributions. Our team of 9 people have started this journey back in 2018, and we have been adapting to all the changes that this reality implied. From in-person meetings to a lot of virtual weekly meetings, we have done our very, very best to make this forum an incredible and unforgettable experience to you all. Join me, please, in thanking the planning team in the chat. With all my heart, thank you a lot, planning team. Thank you, friends. This triennium has been a roller coaster to all of us. We can surely state that we are facing unprecedented global challenges, but we are addressing them, and we are bringing change to our communities, locally, regionally, and globally. As Scouts, young people like me and you are making a change in this world by tackling climate change, addressing inequalities, finding sustainable solutions, developing projects, and educational initiatives that inspire all of us, Scouts and non-Scouts. We, as young people, are the leaders of today. It is our duty to raise our voices, to speak out, to show that the Scouting is developing active global citizens, prepared to lead and bring change to our communities, and to innovate to create a better world. Friends in the Scouting, it is our turn now. Our turn to bring our voices in unison to the world. I want to encourage you to take this opportunity to meet new friends, to let yourself be inspired by others, to engage in discussions, to create synergies with other Scouts around the world, and to learn with an open mind, and of course, to have a lot of fun. As I said in the beginning, this is the biggest World Scout Youth Forum ever, with 746 participants from 163 member organizations. So are you ready to make history with me? If so, then I am very happy now to declare the 14th World Scout Youth Forum officially open.
Before we dive into today's program, as part of the opening section, we would like to determine presence for the Youth Forum. We did not receive any changes to the rules of procedures by the stipulated deadline. According to the Youth Forum rules of procedures, each member organizations may be represented by up to 2 delegates. Our e-voting system will act as our primary way for determining presence. Based on this, I now ask all delegations to log into the voting system so to enable us to determine presence. Throughout the different voting sections of the Youth Forum, each delegation can practice their right to vote or not to vote. At this point in time, however, we ask all the delegations please log into the voting system so to enable us to determine presence. In order to remind ourselves, let us go through a short presentation on how to access the system.
How to access the e-voting system. To access the Youth Forum e-voting system after creating your account, go to vote-yf.scout.org. Note that this is a different URL than the one for the conference. We recommend that you bookmark this page for easy access throughout the event. The head of delegation is to log in with their registered email address and use the personalized password set when creating their account. Note that the link provided in the invitation email is expired as soon as the account is activated. To reset your password, click on the Forgot Password link below the login button. Remember that the preferred browsers are Chrome, Edge, and Safari. The e-voting system will not function on your mobile, and its user experience will be reduced with any other browser.
I hope that with this reminder, the login process to the e-voting system will be smooth for everyone. We will now proceed to the next item of the opening session, while our voting team confirms presence of delegations. Again, if you encounter any issues at any time, you can refer to the help desk via the blue help button at the bottom right on your screen. It is yet another exciting time that our movement comes together. This time after 4 years and not the usual 3 years, as the World Scout Youth Forum and Conference had to be postponed last year. For the first time ever, we are meeting virtually for our Scout Youth Forum. This is indeed history in making, and we are glad that you are part of this milestone in Scouting, building these virtual bridges with Scouts from all around the world. We believe that the connection and the Scouting spirit that we have and will be brought alive through the different sessions that we will have planned for you during this Youth Forum. And even though we cannot be physically together, our team, Bridging the World, invites us all to stay united and discover those elements that we have in common as Scouts and young people around the world. This forum was prepared with so much love and effort from all the planning team and all members of the Bureau, and many other people that helped us along the way. We would like to invite you to enjoy this experience from wherever you are joining us, So let's keep our spirits high and make this the best forum ever. Let me now share with you what we have on the agenda for today. First, we will have the formal opening of the Youth Forum, including some fun activities and addresses from very special guests. Then, we will go to a session called Understanding the Youth Forum, where we will adopt the rules of procedure, appoint the tellers and the drafting committee, and practice using the voting system for the Youth Forum. We will have also an opportunity to look back and appreciate the work done in the last 4 years through the Youth Forum report, as well as to listen to your expectations for this forum. We will end our day today together through an exciting exercise to discover more about WASM and meeting in your international teams, to reflect on the journey that you want to live throughout these days. We have a lot for you prepared in this forum, from plenary sessions to breakout sessions, games, parties, international team meetings, and so much more. Do not be left out. We come together to celebrate the beauty of our unity and diversity. We would like to remind you to use the international team's program document in order to join the correct breakout room. There are also several exciting activities and opportunities to connect with other participants outside of this plenary session. Remember that you can always find out what is up next in the agenda or find links to sessions by going to the agenda section on the digital platform. Remember also to use the participants' guide to the Youth Forum, which is document number 5. If you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to ask for help through the help desk. So now, as I've just mentioned, during the event, we'll be joined by many exciting guests. I am very happy to welcome the United Nations Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, Jayathma Wickramanayake, who wanted to be present during our Youth Forum to share a message with you all. Jayathma, thank you much for joining us in this opening session.
My dear friends, dear Scouts, it is an honor to join all of you to celebrate the centenary milestone since the first ever World Scout Conference was convened in 1920. Congratulations to the World Organization of the Scout Movement for this important anniversary and all of you here today for the great work you tirelessly advance every day. As thousands of young leaders worldwide gather to explore the role of innovation, leadership, and global citizenship in building more resilient and equal societies, I commend you on your leadership, agency, drive, and innovation. You continue your important work against all odds and despite the hardships brought forward by the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, systems of inequality and exclusion that disproportionately affect young people. Due to COVID-19, more than 1.5 billion young people were affected by school and university closures. Many more lost their jobs, with youth employment falling by 8.7% in 2020. Young people's mental health, which was already at an all-time low before the COVID-19 pandemic, has further worsened. And as it's often the case, the most marginalized are the most affected, including young women and girls, LGBTIQ+ youth, young people with disabilities, indigenous young people, and many more. So I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the global youth mobilization led by the World Organization of the Scout Movement and the Big Six organizations for the commendable work you do to improve the lives of young people affected by the pandemic. I also urge you to continue to push for greater investments in youth-led and youth-focused solutions for COVID-19 response and recovery and beyond, including tackling the climate crisis. In light of the global crises we are collectively experiencing, we need more than ever organizations like the Scouts, not only to share the values of the United Nations, but also to walk the talk for a more sustainable, just and equal world for all of us, as envisaged in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And we count on you to do just that. With the deadline to 2030 approaching globally, our Sustainable Development Goals implementation rate being far from reaching those ambitious goals, we need young people and the over 57 million active members of the World Scouting movement to lead the way in the decade of action. So I urge you to continue allocating your valuable service hours in support of the Sustainable Development Goals. For decades, the World Scouting movement has implemented programs to empower young people, fostering and promoting values of volunteerism, diversity, inclusion, and meaningful engagement of young people, often leading these projects on the ground. I also encourage you to continue creating more and more spaces for young people to claim leadership and decision-making power within the governance structures of the movement itself. In this spirit, I invite everyone to leverage the UN's youth strategy, Youth 2030, as a roadmap for action for sustainable development that puts young people at the heart and center as full-fledged partners and architects of their own futures. I look forward to the outcomes of this meeting and continuing to work hand in hand with all of you to help realize a world where no young person is left behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayathma. That was a truly inspiring message, and we couldn't agree more. Young people and Scouts are surely bringing forward so many positive changes to our communities. Now, let us take a moment to reflect on the last 4 years since we met at the last Youth Forum, and draw inspiration from all the work that you and many other young people have been doing in our communities. We hope you feel as inspired as we do when creating this short video for you.
The last 4 years have been incredibly amazing for World Scouting. Since we last met in Azerbaijan in 2017, much has happened. The Youth Forum and conference participants set the direction forward, and the World Scout Committee, including the World Youth Advisors, ensured cohesion and progress on the triennial plan and resolutions. But the success that we celebrate today is not possible without the support of so many young people that enthusiastically contributed to all the work done over these last few years. Today, we want to recognize all of those youth who supported the efforts of the triennial plan, the one-year express plan, as well as different international events as volunteers. Young people have stepped up to the challenge and were an essential part of different units, work streams, and task forces in order to support the development of Scouting around the world. Also, the regional youth advisors, the youth representatives, and other leaders have advocated for change within and outside Scouting. We have gathered from around the world to meet each other, exchange ideas, innovate, and bring change for the benefit of our global movement. We have traveled the world for meetings, workshops, trainings, jamborees, and more, and we have had so much fun. Throughout these years, we have made lifelong friendships and discovered the value of teamwork, intercultural dialogue, and intergenerational partnerships. And the pandemic couldn't stop us either. Although it was hard and confusing at the beginning, we continued working and connected by virtual means. Digital events like Jota and the youth dialogues demonstrated that we are more than connected than ever and that Scouting lives in our hearts. On the other hand, young Scouts have been playing a critical role in the response to COVID-19 through volunteering. to coordinate awareness initiatives, distribute food to vulnerable people, and produce medical masks. Over these last 4 years, we have witnessed the power of youth in serving our communities around the globe. We are truly messengers of peace, Earth Tribe champions, and scouts of the world. We are global citizens committed to gender equality, to fight climate change and inequalities, with concrete actions and projects in our surroundings. We deeply thank all of you for keeping the spirit of the forum and scouting alive. This upcoming triennium, we invite you to step up and join the common adventure. Scouting needs young leaders like you that can drive the changes that our movement and the world needs. Let's keep it up.
Wow, that brings to me a lot of good memories. And it's also very wonderful to see how young people in our movement are taking action to contribute to create a better world, especially during such difficult times in history. Thank you all for your contributions, and thank you once again for being here today. We know how particularly challenging and hard the last year has been to all of us, setting us aside from the people we love, from scouting camps and adventures. But we kept the most important moments alive. Let's take a look at the very important and special moment in every life of a scout. I don't know about you, but I always feel so touched by these special moments. So now we would like to invite all of you to join us in celebrating the unity of our movement by renewing our Scout promise in your own languages. So please get ready. Are you ready, Mori?
Yes.
Let's do it at the same time,
Yes.
okay? So here we go. Ready? Back home. 1, 2, 3. Yo prometo por mi honor hacer cuanto de mí dependa para cumplir mis deberes para con Dios y la patria, ayudar al prójimo en todas circunstancias y cumplir fielmente la ley Scout. Así sea. Thank you all. Thank you all back home. So let's keep our Scout promise in mind at all times, including in all of our interaction during this youth forum. Let's continue with our opening session. We would like to welcome now Craig Turpie, the chairperson of the World Scout Committee, to give us a special greeting. Welcome, Craig, to our forum.
On behalf of the World Scout Committee, welcome to this, the 14th World Scout Youth Forum, the largest forum ever. The theme of the forum and conference is Bridging the World, and we're coming together in this first of its kind virtual setting at a time when the world has been rocked by the global pandemic. However, we've seen over the last 20 months just how resilient young people are, especially Scouts. It's been truly incredible to see how Scouts have responded to the pandemic, helping those more in need than themselves. All this experience gained should give great cause for optimism for the future. As we know, Scouts instinctively want to put right what they see as being wrong in the world, because as Scouts we're equipped with the skills and values to lead change as active global citizens. Scouting is a movement of young people, not just for young people. And like previous editions of the World Scout Youth Forum, this edition has been designed by young adults, the Youth Forum planning team, for you. The team has worked incredibly hard, designing the event as a space to learn more about yourself, about each other, about our great movement, as well as learn more about some of the biggest issues facing people and planet. In short, the forum is a truly remarkable educational space where you can work in international teams, create new friendships, learn in a safe and supportive environment, and importantly, contribute to the development and growth of Scouting, the world's leading educational youth movement, and through this, know that you are contributing to creating a better world. Now, I know what's involved in the preparation of a forum. I had the opportunity to help plan the 9th World Scout Youth Forum way back in 2005. Back then, I was a young adult in Scouting, serving as a youth advisor to the World Scout Committee and as a member of the European Regional Scout Committee. I was a passionate advocate of youth involvement in decision-making. And although a few years have admittedly passed, I still consider myself to be a champion of youth engagement, empowerment, and involvement. And over the last few years, much attention has been given to these topics. We've looked at what more we need to do to revitalise youth involvement in relation to the Scout method, and how to embed genuinely meaningful youth empowerment in decision-making at all levels of the movement. Specifically, we've looked at how we might take the next leap forward to ensure young adults are supported in running for elected or appointed positions, whether locally, nationally, or in WASM, and not just in an advisory capacity. We can see from trends that we're moving in the right direction, presenting what the World Scout Committee believes are really exciting opportunities to evolve the World Scout Youth Forum and World Scout Conference into one experience where the best of the forum and conference are brought together, creating a crossover learning experience for people of all ages, helping to unite the movement, and where the future agenda for Scouting is directly shaped and decided by young adults like you. You'll learn about these and other proposals during the forum. Now, there is great belief today in the importance of our mission and the strategy for Scouting. That our movement is united in ambition is, I believe, as a result of our collective approach to thinking strategically at all levels, nationally, regionally and globally, about who we really are, what we want to achieve, and how we organise ourselves to go about achieving it. In an often disunited world, this sense of unity and shared ambition that we enjoy should instill us with confidence that our purpose is more relevant than ever, that our ambitions are within reach, and that today, this movement of more than 57 million young people can be an agent of change in a world that so desperately needs it. So have a wonderful forum, do have fun, and stay safe online.
Thank you, Craig. That was really, really inspiring. And thank you also for all of your support and for championing youth engagement. We do recognize that you were of the first youth advisors. Thank you for that. So now I'd like to ask you, do you like challenges? Because I do. I do like challenges, and I like dancing. And I've seen the Scout Dance Challenge. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's really amazing. So I have been preparing my moves as a good Latin, of course, and I hope that you brought your dancing shoes with you. Not only your boots, your dancing shoes. We're going to need it. It would not be, of course, a youth forum without the fun, right? So we would like to invite you to take this moment to learn the Youth Forum and Conference Dance Challenge. So it's really, really nice. Love to see that it's already the grooving music here in the studio. I think we need to do it one more time, actually, so that we can practice. So please join me in this dance party. Music, please. Yeah. Those were really nice moves. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So remember to record your dance moves, and you can post them on social media and tag World Scouting and use the hashtag Scout Dance Challenge. To keep the fun and energy, we also have some challenges for you in this digital platform. At the right top corner of the platform, you will find the gamification button, where you can find out more about the challenges and how to win the awards. We have now come to the end of this first session of the forum. Thank you all for your engagement and active participation. Remember, you can reach out for support and ask questions at any time in the help desk by using the blue help button at the bottom right corner in the platform. Remember to also use the participants guide of the Youth Forum, which is document number 5. Thank you.
Dear friends, welcome back to the World Scout Youth Forum. Before we continue with the World Scout Youth Forum, I just want to remind all head of delegations, please log into the e-voting systems as we are determining presence of the forum, and also there will be a test vote sections afterwards. So head of delegations, if you have any questions, any difficulties in doing that, we can all help you. Just go to the blue button, the help button, where we can have people to help you in logging into the e-voting platform. Most of you may be like attending this forum for the very first time. But don't worry, we are all meeting virtually like this for the very first time, so we are all new in some way. We're prepared in the next section where you will learn how the youth forum work, and we'll also provide you with opportunities to ask questions. This year, we have reimagined the entire Youth Forum agenda in the virtual context and to provide more opportunities for participants to participate and engage in shaping the future of World Scouting. In terms of your journey, in the next few days, you will explore 2 educational paths with the proposed agenda. As you can see on the screen, the first graph that you are going to do is the decision-making path, where you will find breakout sections on the triennial plan, the draft resolutions, and the constitutional amendments. Secondly, you will find the inspirational path, where you will find the keynote sections or the workshops that are related with the 3 topics that we are here at the World Scout Youth Forum: innovation, leadership, and global citizenship. And we'll all work on the Youth Forum Declaration. These 2 sections and these 2 paths are not optional, and all of us will explore together in these 2 educational paths. In terms of how we work, of course, as Deanna has mentioned, we'll have the participant guide for the Youth Forum, which is document number 5. And also for all the details you will see at the Youth Forum agenda. And now, just to go through with you a little bit about the agenda. We'll have a daily 4-hour block where all the participants will come together and engage in the Youth Forum moment, and for delegates to involve and vote for all the forum proper for the Youth Forum. The 4-hour block will begin at 12 GMT each day. Your inputs and ownerships into the discussion and decisions will be ensured through engaging a lot of virtual conferencing tools. Together with the 4-hour sections, there are a variety of live sections and workshops that are being offered to participants. These sections are duplicated in order to enable you to build your own custom youth forum agenda based on your time zones and to ensure that you have meaningful youth forum participants and experience. Please double check your profile setting and make sure that your timeline is set to your browser's time so that you don't miss out anything and you don't miss out all the wonderful sections that we are going to have together. Just go to the platform according to the time and you will have access to the sections. You are not required to register previously in all the sections. In addition, participants can join social activities throughout the youth forum and to enjoy some fun moments such as dance, celebrating cultures with all our scouts. The virtual spaces for networking and coffee breaks will provide you with an informal means of connecting with other participants to have important discussions. You can always connect friends, no matter old and new friends, in the meeting hub. You may have questions regarding how the forum works. Please now just use the Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll take as many questions as possible under this time allocated for Q&A. At this stage, we'll not bring any people on the screen, so please make use of the Q&A box at the top right, at the right-hand side of your platform, and please identify your delegations when asking your questions. We'll read them out, and then we'll answer them one by one. So I see there are a lot of discussions coming on at the discussion forum. And if you have any questions, you can always raise it in the Q&A live section. Let us have a look at the platform. Seems like you guys are still figuring out how to use the platform. Let me go through it with you all together. There is the discussion forum on the right, where you can chit-chat with your friends, make some new friends. You can always discuss using the discussion platform. And if you have any questions that you want to ask at the plenary, please make use of the live Q&A block, where our production team will bring the questions to us and we can answer them together. And at the same time, I need to emphasize once again, as we are determining presence, we would like to ask all the head of delegations, please log into the e-voting systems, as we are going to take the first vote at the World Scout Youth Forum shortly. If you have any questions, please make use of the Q&A box to ask any questions related to the forum. If you have any technical difficulties, you can always use the help button, the blue one, at the bottom right corner of the platform. Okay. How about let us all take a 3-minute break, bio break, stretch your hands a little bit, and if you have any questions you can ask at the Q&A box, We'll come back in 3 minutes, and then we'll tackle the questions. We'll answer the questions, make sure everyone is on the same page, and we'll all move to the next sections. So see you back after a 3-minute bow break. See you later. Welcome back after a short break. So we actually received 2 questions. I will take the first one, and Deanna will take the second one. So for the first questions that we're having is about the international team. So the question is actually whether every one of you will join an international team. The answer is very straightforward, yes. So every delegates and observers, if you are participants of the World Scout Youth Forum, you will be part of an international teams. And these international teams would be really, really important. And I need to emphasize that again and again, as this will be the team that you are working together as a group for the next few days. So if you have difficulties in finding your team members, go to the meeting hub, try to find them. The team list is already shared with you by email. And alternatively, if you still have difficulties in finding your members, go to the help desk and we'll try our best to help you. Okay? I hope everyone can find your international teams, have some fun, and have some great discussions. And Deanna, would you like to take the second question, please?
Yes, Mori. That is a very interesting question. They're asking us if we, as chairs, can have some dance. They want us to see dancing the Scout Challenge, and we will do it just if you do it with us, okay? So can I ask if we get the Scout dance challenge, please, Mori? We've been asked to do it. Come on.
I'm very bad at dancing. Okay.
Let's give it a try. Okay, where is it?
Where is it?
It is kind of complicated.
What?
I cannot see.
I cannot see as well.
Okay, I think that was enough. Thank you. That was actually very fun. I hope you enjoy it back there also.
And I hope you guys take a time to stretch yourself a little bit. And then we can continue. Okay. So after some very challenging and happy dance move, let us move to the next section. For the next section that we're doing is to determine presence. Now, as part of determining presence, let me tell you who are present here at the World Scout Youth Forum together with us around the world. There are 746 registered participants, delegates, observers, and guests in this event. I can now tell you that this is the largest World Scout Youth Forum ever. I would like to express my special welcome to all the guests and partners joining us to show their support to World Scouting. A warm welcome to you all. I'm also happy to inform you that the voting team has confirmed that there are 163 delegations registered for the World Scout Youth Forum. And please get online if you haven't. We are going to make our first vote very soon. If support is needed again, please reach out to the help desk. We are also happy to welcome our newest delegations of the World Scout Youth Forum since the last event in Azerbaijan. A warm welcome to Macau, Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, and the Solomon Islands. Welcome, welcome. Throughout this youth forum, we'll be making decisions through voting. Today, we'll be voting on the rules of procedures and we'll appoint a drafting committee and a group of tellers. Before I explain the process, please make sure that you are still logging in at the e-voting system and to be ready to cast your votes. Let's go through a short presentation about casting your vote for a simple majority motion.
Here are the steps of how a delegation can cast their vote for simple motions. Log in to the e-voting system and be ready to cast your vote. When the vote is activated, it will show on the left-hand side of the screen under the active vote header. It will include the progress bar, timer, and voter turnout. As quorum is determined at the beginning of the event, the voter turnout serves as an indication of those delegations that decided to practice their right to vote. Click on the active vote. The details of the selected vote will appear on the right side of your screen with the options to cast your vote. As this is a simple motion, your vote options are in favor, against, or abstain. Select your desired option to cast all your votes. If you wish to split your vote, click on the split vote button to enable the function. Then allocate all your votes accordingly across the desired vote options. Depending on the size of your browser, the split vote will appear as a drop-down selection or row that easily select options from 0 to 2. You can select or unselect each option by clicking. Carefully review your vote allocation is correct. Note that once you have cast your vote, no further changes can be made. As a measure of caution, the confirm button will only activate once you have allocated all your votes. Confirm your vote by clicking on the confirm vote button. A confirmation message that your vote has been submitted will appear. Once the vote is closed, the results will appear. You can see the overall results of the vote, plus how your delegation voted. For this vote type, the results are determined using simple majority. If there are more votes in favor than votes against, the motion is carried. And in case of a tie, with the same number of votes in favor and against, the motion is defeated. Note that abstentions are not counted neither in favor nor against.
Along the way, if you encounter any issue, you can always refer to the help desk via the blue help button, either on the participation platform or on the e-voting system. I also get the confirmation from the voting team that the voting system is ready with all issues addressed, and so we are all ready to make our votes. As we are about to begin our first vote on the system, we wish to confirm to all participants about the integrity and credibility of the World Scouting e-voting system, which have undergone third-party credibility assessment, has been tested by both volunteers and the World Scout Bureau staff from around the world who have no stakes in the results of voting. And the whole process will be supported by a team of tellers which will be entrusted by the Youth Forum to ensure the integrity of the voting section. All head of delegates are also invited the other day to participate in a training in the e-voting system and the stimulation of the voting process to see all the system in action. Before the opening section and the actual votes, we are going to first conduct a test vote to ensure that everyone is logged in and comfortable with how to cast your votes. The test vote that we are going to take today is actually a very nice one. The vote is on if purple is the favorite color of delegations here at the World Scout Youth Forum. I now invite all head of delegations to move to their e-voting platform to cast their vote for their delegations. Again, I need to mention that for the purpose of this test vote, we request all delegations to cast your votes. For further votes, delegations can decide to exercise their right to vote or not. The vote will be open for 10 minutes. Can I ask the voting team to confirm if everything is in order and if we are ready to proceed for this test vote? Okay, I get the confirmation now. The vote is now open for 10 minutes. The vote is now closed, and we'll show the result on screen shortly. Okay, the results are now on the screen. With 164 votes in favor, 26 against, and 6 abstentions, I can proudly say the motion is carried, and our favorite color is indeed purple. Congratulations everyone for the test votes. Before each voting section, we'll ask you to move to the e-voting system to confirm that all those wishing to vote can access to the e-voting system and to ensure that you are ready to vote before we start the vote. If you have any questions during the process, remember, you can always reach out to us using the help button. Now, let us move to the first official vote of the World Scout Youth Forum. Every World Scout Youth Forum approves the rules of procedures to guide the institutional proceedings. The 14th World Scout Youth Forum Rules of Procedures was endorsed by the World Scout Committee and subsequently circulated in advance to all member organizations. As you can see, the rules of procedures are set out in document 2A. Since there are no amendments brought forward by the stipulated deadline, I now move the approval of the rules of procedures for the 14th World Scout Youth Forum for consideration through a simple majority vote. I now invite all head of delegations to move to the e-voting system and to cast their delegation vote if they wish to. The vote will be open for 10 minutes. Note that as we progressively work to shorten the time, if everybody is getting more and more comfortable in the voting process. I get the confirmation from the voting team that the voting is ready. And we'll now open the vote, and head of delegations, you will have 10 minutes for this vote. You may now start. Welcome back to the plenary. I now declare the vote closed and will soon show the result on screen. Now, as you will see on the screen, with 189 votes in favor, 7 abstentions, and none against, I declare the motion carried. We now have the rules of procedures, and the rules of procedures are adopted. Thank you so much. Seems we're doing pretty good in this voting section. Let us all continue. And we'll now continue the voting section to appoint the drafting committee. The drafting committee supports the Youth Forum through the decision-making process by reviewing submitted proposals and amendments from international teams to ensure that they meet the requirement as set out in the procedures. So they mainly serve 3 roles, as you can see on the screen. And this is the French version of it. Again, the drafting committees have 3 roles and going to help us in this whole decision-making process. The planning team recommends the endorsement of the following 4 delegates to serve as the members of the drafting committee. They are Narek Hananyan from Armenia, Eleanor Herwit from Australia, Jason Junrich from Canada, Fatma Serra Dreti from Tunisia. I would like to note that these members have been recommended taking into considerations their competencies, gender, balance, regional diversity, and language skills. Please also note that, as per the rules of procedures, this committee also includes 1 youth advisor as a resource person and 1 World Scout Bureau staff member as the facilitator. Therefore, Marty Mir as a youth advisor and Emma Magura as staff member will be joining this committee as the drafting committee. I would now like to ask the Youth Forum to endorse the drafting committee and that each delegation head back to the e-voting system and to ready to cast your votes. I will now move the following motion for consideration: that the Youth Forum endorse the individuals as members of the drafting committee of the 14th World Scout Youth Forum. As we practiced 2 times already, I can see most of you are feeling very comfortable in using this voting system. The vote will only be open for 7 minutes as we work to reduce the time to cast the votes. As a reminder, if you encounter any issues, you can always refer to the help desk through the help button. I have confirmation from the voting team that the voting is ready and we'll now open the vote for 7 minutes. Head of delegations, you can now cast your votes. Welcome back. The vote is now closed, and we'll share the result on screen. With 179 votes in favor, 10 against, and 9 abstention, I declare the motion carried. We thank you so much in advance for the drafting committee for their support in the decision-making process throughout the Youth Forum. Now, let us move on to the next vote, the vote of the appointment of the tellers. The role of the tellers are to oversee the voting procedures and verify the number of votes recorded. If the tellers have cause to believe that there are some irregularity in voting, they will immediately declare their concern to Deanna, the chairperson, and Deanna will make a final judgment. So the teller's role here is to ensure that the voting process is trustworthy. In accordance with Rule 5.d of the same rules of procedures, the planning committee recommends the following 9 tellers to be appointed. The names of the tellers are now shown on the screen from South Africa, Kenya, Germany, Belgium, Philippines, Singapore, United States of America, Iraq, and Jordan. I just want to bring the forum attention that the number of tellers being appointed is more than the last World Scout Youth Forum, because it is to ensure that some are on standby to support us in case we need to roll out the backup voting option, or to offer individual delegations to call in voting, for delegations which may lose their internet connectivity. So now the motion is now moved for considerations. The Youth Forum appoints the list of tellers for the 14th World Scout Youth Forum. We have been getting faster and faster in terms of voting, and I'm super happy to see all of you have cast your votes without any challenges. So this time, we'll open the vote for 5 minutes. I have the confirmation from the voting team that the vote now is ready. I will now open the vote, and you will have 5 minutes to cast your vote. Head of delegations, please cast your vote. Thank you. Welcome back once again to the plenary. I now declare the vote closed and will soon share the result on the screen. Now, as you can see on the screen, with 180 votes in favor, 8 against, and 8 abstentions, I now declare the motion is carried. We now have the tellers to assist us in this process. A super big thank you is extended to the tellers for their support in the voting process throughout the event. This is the end of the second section of the day. We'll take a 10-minute break. Please observe the time and come back at around 2 p.m. GMT for the next section. Please remember to stay hydrated, stretch your legs, stretch your arms a little bit, and we'll see you back in 10 minutes. Welcome back to the plenary. I hope you really stretch your arms, grab some water, and this is back to the plenary for another section. Before we move on, we have received questions from the discussion forum and we want to address it. So the question is whether, while we are waiting for voting from the head of delegations, whether we can screen share the content of the vote such that everyone will know what is the vote about. The planning team, together with the production team, is working on that, and we'll try our best to accommodate that in the future voting sections. So we hope to bring the best user experience that we have at the World Scout Youth Forum. Without any further questions, I will now move to Deanna. Deanna, please.
Thank you, Mori. So it is now time for the youth advisors to share with us their report and experience. And right after that, we will have a very interesting interaction with some members of the World Scout Committee. Let us start first with the youth advisors report. Welcome, friends.
Hi everyone, we are very excited to share with you today some of the highlights and reflections from our journey as youth advisors in the past 4 years. Let me start by taking us back in time. This was when we were recently elected in Azerbaijan in August 2017. We came from different backgrounds and we were excited to embark in the journey of the governance of the World Scout movement, hand in hand with the rest of the World Scout Committee members. At that time, we were not sure what our potential was as individuals, but also as a team. In the end, we discovered that we could push for change if we were united in our differences.
We started our journey with a team building and onboarding session in Kenya, in a memorable place for scouting. It was absolutely great. Practice to integrate all members of the committee, be it voting members, youth advisors, or ex-officio members. Becoming part of the World Scout Committee is a learning experience for everyone, as most people are not used to leading a global organization with over 50 million members, hundreds of volunteers and staff, a multi-million-dollar budget. We got a sense of a team of 27 people committed to ensuring the achievement of the triennial plan and the resolutions agreed in Azerbaijan.
The work we engaged in was both strategic and operational. Operationally, we supported different task forces and working groups of our operational framework, which you will have read about in our full report. We also engaged in work streams in some of the standing committees and task forces to follow up on resolutions agreed by the conference in 2017. As part of our work, we ensured that the views of the last Youth Forum declaration and the amendments passed at the conference were duly considered. It was very rewarding to see how all the working hours, the travels took form and arrived at the committee meetings for decision. As part of the World Scout Committee, we also engaged in discussions around all matters. And to give you a bit of an input on how that work looked like, I'm handing over to Mari.
Indeed, apart from our involvement in the operational structures, we are proud to say that as a team and individuals, we were able to bring and provoke strategic discussions at the committee meetings. For example, on the topics of youth engagement, gender equality, finances and risk management, and world events. This committee dedicated much time to discuss and understand each other's perspectives around youth engagement. I think it is fair to say that this is reflected in the amount of resolutions we have around this topic this year. And although there were differences in our views, because we are a diverse group of people, we all came to conclude that in order to progress in this topic, we needed to broaden the perspective and have a holistic approach. Understanding first the barriers to youth engagement at the local, national, regional, and world levels. We recognize that youth engagement is essential for the development of our movement at all levels, since it is a core element of the Scout method. For sure, there is much more to be done, but we are proud to say that as youth advisors, we did our best to advance this topic.
Yeah, and another thing we've done is to provoke some important and strategic conversations on gender inequality in our organization. We tried to better understand our organizational culture and structures, and why, in fact, large parts of our organization are run by men. And we've tried to discuss ways to overcome these obstacles. We've done so by putting gender mainstreaming as a standing item on the committee's agenda. We've looked at data, we've had workshops with WASM leadership. We've tried to form the habit of openly discussing also sensitive issues, to look inwards and to be self-critical about our organization while being forward-looking. As with youth engagement, we have lots to learn about the barriers to women's participation and leadership in our organizational structures and movement, and we hope that the next committee will continue these conversations. Of course, we've also been involved in all of the strategic discussions around finances and risk management, world events, and ask critical questions to ensure that machinery of WASM supports our National Scout organizations and a more inclusive and meaningful educational experience for young people around the world.
We also supported the COVID response plan to support young people and NSOs in these difficult times. We helped in the preparation and delivery of the 100-day plan in the adjustment of the draft triennial plan that will be discussed during these weeks. You may also remember that we conceptualized and delivered the youth dialogues. This was a joint effort led by the World Scout Youth Forum planning team, together with the global and regional youth advisors, youth representatives, and other Scout leaders from all around the world. These dialogues brought together more than 1,700 young people from around the world to discuss in the framework of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the main challenges and the learnings from the pandemic towards the new normal and building the future better. This was certainly an inspirational moment for all of us to continue serving in our communities and to create a better world.
It was indeed an inspirational moment. In terms of communications, we as youth advisors were given a big job, and we may have not lived up to the standards we set ourselves. The 13th World Scout Youth Forum expressed a clear need for more direct communications from the youth advisors to them and to young people as a whole. Following this directive, we rebranded our social media presence, increased the frequency of posts, and committed to deliver live reporting following World Scout Committee meetings. All of you involved in communications now know that this requires a lot of effort. At the beginning, our effort was met with interest, mainly from former Youth Forum participants. After the first year, we barely got any reactions, and so the time and effort we invested was at odds with the results. This may be because the World Scout Committee already engages in reporting, and we, as a part of the team of 27, just did not have too much to add to that, or because our audience has largely moved on. Nevertheless, we engaged with young people around the world at various events via our regions and our own networks to ensure that we were aware of the needs and joys within our movement. Additionally, the messaging groups created during the 13th World Scout Youth Forum continue to exist and up to this day are sometimes activated by someone looking for inspiration. Diana, now please tell us more about the probably coolest event that we were part of during our last 4 years.
Absolutely, Martin. As youth advisors, we were also mandated to organize this World Scout Youth Forum, together with an amazing group of young people that are part of the planning team, as well as colleagues from the World Scout Bureau and support centers around the world. We know this forum is unique. Besides being the first virtual and largest forum ever, it has introduced innovations to maximize the experience for all participants. It is our hope that you will take this opportunity to make long-lasting friendships, increase your knowledge and skills, and recognize your leadership potential in scouting and in your community.
Well, guys, it has really been quite an amazing journey these 4 years, full of work, laughs, and meetings. It was absolutely a pleasure to share this path with you and make an amazing team. To sum up this presentation, I would like to say a final reflection of our journey as youth advisors and also call upon my colleagues to share their reflection. We started this journey in 2017 in Azerbaijan. And some of us those who are present then might still remember the mountains in Azerbaijan and the conference, the forum venue, and the things we had to, the discussions we had, etc. And all of these at that time looked like a journey that was improbable. But 4 years later, We have been through so much together. We have shared with a lot of you, some of them who are in this room, and we've gone through so much. And we want to look back and appreciate the fact that the last 4 years will give birth to the next 4 years. And we continue like that in succession, and Scouting will continue. Continuously bring joy, happiness, life, and a lot of things to young people. Julius.
Thanks, Edgar. One thing I've learned is what it's like to be in the governance of any organization. And one realization I got quite early on was that being in governance is very little about knowing the details and having the answers, and quite a lot about asking the right questions. And these are sort of everyday questions. So what the heck does this budget post mean? When's our next coffee break? How are you feeling today? To the big ones, why are we doing things this way? Who should be part of this conversation? And how do we steer more ambitiously towards where we want to be as a movement? And I think one thing that I'm also reflecting is that the team of 27, the entire World Scout Committee, and having 27 people around the same table does not always mean that the questions and opinions and realities of all 27 carry equal weight. And I think the youth advisor system has worked well to get us around the table. And I think it works better when youth advisors agree with elected members than it does when youth advisors don't agree with elected members. And that means that there are lots of invisible and visible obstacles that we need to deal with as a movement. Some of these obstacles are upheld by laziness, some by ignorance, and some by the fear of reform or by the loss of power by some groups. But I would say that after 4 years of asking questions on the World Scout Committee, a few questions remain in my mind as I leave this mandate. And one is, on whose terms are we deciding on the future of our movement? The second question is, are we accepting good enough youth participation because we don't really know what meaningful youth participation looks like? And I think the last question is, what does it mean to be the world's leading educational youth movement if young people are kept from leading it?
Thanks, Julius. Thanks, Edgar. I actually joined this adventure with a lot of expectations, and I sure got and gave way more than I thought and was planning to, and I guess it's the case for all of us here. It was for me a life-changing experience that I have spent with an amazing team of 26 other capable members, and more particularly within our small, diverse team of youth advisors. We have lived together several planned and unplanned events, and it was exceptional to contribute together to different important development opportunities of the movement. I look forward to future milestones and best of luck not only to the upcoming generation of youth advisors, but also to all the young people within the movement, as the future of WISM is actually relying on us. So looking forward to witness other milestones, and see you all soon.
Thank you, Mori, for that very insightful reflections. The first thing I would like to highlight is that, being a youth advisor, it's not only about learning. Everyone who is new to join the World Scout Committee has to learn how to govern an organization with millions of members worldwide. Being a youth advisor means being part of that governance, to read into documents and to ask difficult questions like Julius just did. And by doing that, by doing a good job on the World Scout Committee, you are recognized by your peers as a valuable asset on the committee, no matter your age. And I think that's something we need to become a lot better at communicating. Secondly, being elected as part of the 27 individuals serving on the World Scout Committee is an immense privilege. A privilege that is unfortunately only available to very few people. We're a movement of 50+ million young people, and I think we can do better than electing 6 of them every 3 years to the World Scout Committee. We need to ensure that young people are not discriminated, and we need to empower them to serve in leadership positions in our NSOs and in our regions. It is a young person's right to be involved in decisions that affect them, to claim that right and to support others in claiming their rights. And I strongly believe that together we can do better. Thirdly, I am deeply convinced that the current system of including young people in decision-making is unfit for the future. It is broken. It's 2021, and as the world's leading educational youth movement, we need to stop being proud of a system which gives young people advisory status rather than decision-making status. Going outside of the World Scout Committee and engaging with NSOs around the globe, you're treated differently based on your status as an advisor rather than a voting member. In my experience, I found it quite difficult and frustrating sometimes when in conversations with representatives from NSOs, the answers I gave were considered not valid or valuable enough so that I had to wait for a voting member to give exactly the same answer before it was accepted. This is something that needs to stop. We need to change this system. The question remains, how are we going to do that? Young people have a right to be involved in decisions that affect them. Let us claim that right. Let us move past a system that considers young people as advisors to a system that guarantees, without discrimination, the equal treatment of young people in the World Scout Committee. Let us change our system to put young people at the heart of our governments. Let us create a system where young people are guaranteed their place without the power dynamics of voting, without discrimination, but as decision makers. I strongly believe that we can and must do better. During this forum and the conference, it is part of our job to ensure that we create a system that guarantees the involvement of young people without discrimination. Thank you very much. Now handing over to Mori.
Thank you so much, Martin. My reflection is that it was never an easy task. But I'm very grateful to have a group of 27 people who work hard towards this one common goal to create a better world. And of course, to work with a group of wonderful youth advisors, I know this was such a nice team where we can, we have different opinions, but we always discuss on different topics and we come up with the best solutions that we think it was. However, not all these opinions or not all these ideas were accepted by the World Scout Committee sometimes because we do not have a vote. However, it is time for us to change the situation. We can see more and more young people are being involved in the entire decision-making body. It was such a tremendous experience for me to be part of this 27, but we only have 6 of us as the youth advisors. So now it is time for us to think about the future of youth engagement and the whole future of the world's largest leading educational youth movement. What are we going to do? The future lies on your hand, and the future lies on how do we want to discuss. After all, they have summarized what I want to say, most of them. And I just want to say, I'm very, very fortunate to be part of this team. And I'm sure that after this 4 years working very hard within the committee, we'll all learn a lot of things. We all contribute a lot of things. And I'm sure that after this 4 years, we'll all go back to our own national Scout organizations, go back to our regions or another capacity to continue the spirit of Scouting, to spread the word of youth engagement, and to spread what we can do in terms of governance. I urge every one of you here to seize this opportunity at this World Scout Youth Forum to show to everyone that young people can really make a difference, and together we can create a better world.
Thank you, Mori, and thank you all. It's difficult to be the last one when you have said it all, but I tried to just make some notes. I do agree that there's still much more to be done on the topic of youth engagement, although we have progressed also, and that's to be highlighted. I would just note that for me, I've learned that there are different views, culture influences the way we think about youth engagement and youth rights in general. So it's important also to understand that there is no a unique way to see or approach this topic. It is a difficult conversation, but I think it needs to continue. I also saw that intergenerational partnerships and dialogue is possible. It's possible when you have both sides willing to have a dialogue without prejudices about age and about what your experience is. Of course, always young people are going to have less experience. We have less age. I mean, that's obvious, but we do have valuable experiences and valuable views of the world and of Scouting that must be considered because we are the core of the Scout movement. I also agree with Julius that asking the right questions might be probably the one thing about governance. I think these questions should always be focused on how to better support NSOs and at large, how to better support young people that are at the forefront of Scouting. I think this pandemic was obvious that young people were suffering the most, although they were invisible to the vulnerable groups around it. So how can we, as the Scout movement, be there to support the development of children and young people in the world? I think that should be our core question. I'm honored also to be part of this small group and the group of 27, but I have enjoyed so much the laughs and the journey together with you guys. So thank you very much. And, I know that we will be hanging around this Scouting world some more time. So thank you for the experience.
Well, in one word, loved it.
Thank you all for sharing these reflections with us. I know you might have some questions for all of us, and we'd love to engage with you. We invite you to connect with the youth advisors with us throughout the Youth Forum to get more insights and to resolve any questions that you might have. I also recognize that there are some other questions on resolutions, so I invite you all to get your questions ready for the session that we will have during day 3 of this forum, with the presence also of the youth advisors. So now we would like to know more about how it's like to be in a team of 27 in the World Scout Committee, and what are the main challenges that we've encountered together. So we will now listen to some youth advisors and elected members of the World Scout Committee in their exchange of experiences and reflections.
Now, let's welcome some special guests, fellow members of the World Scout Committee. Welcome Craig, Jemima, and Peter. Thank you for being with us here today for the first ever Virtual Scout Youth Forum, and of course, the largest one, by the way. With Craig, Jemima, and Peter, we'd like to say a few words to us before we get started for this intergenerational and intercultural dialogues.
Just to say a huge thanks for the warm welcome. It's great to be here at the World Scout Youth Forum, and really, really looking forward to not just this session, but all the discussions that are going to be taking place over the coming days. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. It feels so great to meet all of you. It's been 3 years working together, and it just feels good meeting you again. So thank you very much for inviting us for this intergenerational conversation, and I hope it will go well. Thank you.
And not only thanks for inviting us, keep up the great work, because there's still a long way to go for the forum. So great conferencing and forums.
So let's get started with this dialogue. And Craig, shall we start with a little conversation between the two of us?
I'd be delighted to, Martin. Let's go for it.
Cool. So in the previous session, we just shared our report, what we did as youth advisors, and one of the things that we highlighted that was a really big discussion, or that took a lot of time during the committee meetings, was when we discussed around youth engagement and how that how that discussion progressed. So you've been on the committee for a little bit of time. So what do you think about the different membership status of the committee, and also how that kind of evolved over the years that you've seen it?
Thanks, Martin. What a great question to start with. And yes, it's true. I've served on the World Scout Committee in different capacities over many years, including as a youth advisor, I have to say, as well as a regional chair and as a voting member of the World Scout Committee. So I've been able to look at that question of the membership statuses of the different individuals over that period. I think my reflections are that the World Scout Committee at any point in time is a diverse group of people, and they're elected by different constituencies, which we don't necessarily have control over. So for example, of the 27 people who attend World Scout Committee meetings, 6 of them are regional chairs who've been elected by their respective regional Scout committees. 6 of them, as you know, are youth advisors who've been elected by the World Scout Youth Forum, and 12 of them are directly elected by the World Scout Conference itself. Now, with regard to the other 3, we've got the treasurer, appointed by the World Scout Committee, the representative of the board of the World Scout Foundation, who's appointed by the World Scout Foundation board itself, and the Secretary General appointed by the World Scout Committee. Now, I think in this diverse group, we've got ex officio members without a vote. Those include the last 3 roles that I mentioned, plus the 6 regional chairs. In addition, we've got the youth advisors who are not technically members of the World Scout Committee, but similar to the 9 ex officio roles, they also don't have the vote, which you know only too well. Now, despite the differences in the membership statuses of these different groups within the committee, it has been the ambition of the World Scout Committee in recent times, in this triennium and the one immediately past, to build consensus in the so-called team of 27, and to try and ensure that all the talents that we have around the table have their voice heard and the opportunity to participate in all discussions, including many of those that ultimately require a vote from 12 voting members. Now, coming to the heart of this question, and you'll be pleased to hear him concluding, we're now at a really interesting moment, I think, when the rationale for continuing the youth advisor system in its current form is under question. And it's good to pause and pose that question. Undeniably, there's a great desire in the movement to see more young people serving in leadership roles. And it shouldn't escape us that this is the first World Scout Committee where we've seen 3 young adults under 30 years of age directly elected to the World Scout Committee, which is great. And we can see a trend that is likely to continue, hopefully, in the coming years. But a lot of that is ultimately down to the ambition and will of national Scout organisations themselves, who've said over successive triennia that we need to see more young adults stepping up and stepping forward into leadership roles in a mainstream fashion. And we're beginning to see that. And I think that is what has precipitated this really good conversation, dialogue that we've been having about the youth advisor system and its future, let's say, and how that touches on the future of the forum and the conference as well. So a long question to a long answer to a complex question, but some thoughts there, Martin.
Thank you very much. That's very insightful.
Thank you. I've got a question from me to you, Martin, and I'd really like to hear from your perspective, how you would describe a lot of the discussions that have had a lot of variety, all those discussions that we've had on youth engagement during these past 4 years. How would you describe them?
A lot of words come to mind, and I think the first one of them is definitely, I think we had an open discussion and one that was very intense at times, and I think that's also the job that we have as members of the World Scout Committee. And I think that also comes down on how you chaired these discussions, that everyone felt welcome, that you had this discussion on a kind of eye-to-eye level, so that despite the different statuses that you just explained earlier, I think we all felt like, or at least I felt like I was part of that discussion equally like anyone else. And I think what's really special with the discussion around youth engagement is that really everyone around the table has an opinion, because everyone has been young. This is a topic that has been in the organizations, well, for as long as I can remember. So it's really interesting to see, everyone really fully engaged in these discussions and bringing in their personal perspective, their learnings over the years. And that was really something, it was really cool to see that 27 people were really engaged in these discussions, and that was really nice. And also to have this discussion on an eye-to-eye level. On the other side, though, and I think this comes naturally when you are in a committee that has this kind of power balances. Despite having these open discussions, it is ultimately the 27 that come together that have this discussion, but it's the 12 that decide. And I think as strongly or as much as you want or try to integrate everyone, ultimately you will always feel that, you know, there is these 12 people that will ultimately decide and that have that responsibility and that were elected for it. And I think, you know, as much as we tried, that's always there. But ultimately, I think the conference resolutions that we have now on youth engagement, on the merger, I think those conference resolutions reflect that compromise that we found between the 27 members. Moving on from the youth engagement topic, Julius, you led some interesting work during the past 4 years. Do you want to share something about that?
Sure. Thanks, Martin. And I'd like to bring Jemima with me up on stage. Jemima, we've worked closely together over the past number of years, and we're getting to the end of it. I think we have a lot to reflect on, and one thing that we have reflected on, and it was good that Craig and Martin sort of set the stage on talking about sort of the power dynamics within the committee and within the organization. And one thing we have discussed is the state of gender equality in WASM. And I'm curious about your perspective. And of course, we've discussed this over the past few years, but would you be able to share with the World Scout Youth Forum participants what you think the obstacles that young women face to leadership in WASM, and also maybe some about how those obstacles might be overcome?
Oh, thank you very much, Julius. And it's good to be talking about this because I've always been interested in talking about gender equality. But thank you also for being a strong advocate for that and pushing this agenda. I think that naturally, most girls would want to get to leadership levels. However, it also takes those who are out there, external forces, it also takes they themselves to be able to get there. And let me just give a little explanation to this. First, if you are in an organization where you don't have a lot of men, I would say, believing in you and encouraging you to get to the point where you want to get, you kind of try to feel laid back. On the other hand, it also depends on the women themselves because they need to believe in themselves. There are various roles that a woman can play, which would need her to be interested in first, but also to believe in herself. Because let's take one example. You may be at a national level, you have expectation of getting to the regional level or the world level. It takes a lot of learning. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of motivating yourself to go up there. But it also takes other people in the organization to identify your skills, to be able to help you to get to that stage. Because no matter how you believe in yourself, if you do not have people who would recognize it, bring you up, train you, give you all the skills that you need to get up there, you certainly would not get up there. So I always say that the best way to be able to solve this problem is to catch them very young. Catching the young girls, very young, probably from the Cub Scout stage. Who are the very confident ones? Who are those who have got potentials of getting up there in leadership? Let's give them the training. Let's include them. Inclusiveness is also very important. And I always say that we learn from each other. It's a concerted effort. We got to get it done.
That's really interesting and key, you know, I think to listen to these types of experiences. And I remember, you know, many of the conversations we've had where, you know, I've realized things that I didn't know before about just what you're saying now, how women are dependent on men to empower them along the way. And as a man, I find that very difficult to relate to because I think I've been able to navigate the hierarchies and the institutions of this movement in a smoother way than many women around the world. So so indeed, listening to those experiences. Thanks, Jemima.
Thank you. But I also want to ask you one question. I mean, over the 4 years, talking about gender equality. What have you reflected on and learned during this period? It would be interesting to hear from you as well.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, a lot. As I just said, you know, I think this has been a learning journey for many of us. I think three main areas where we as a committee have learned quite a bit about gender in WASM. It's the data, sort of the hard facts, the experiences, what you were talking about, and then the institutional sort of conditions for gender equality. And on data, I think we quite early on, we said that, okay, we didn't really do very well with recruiting an operational framework that would be completely gender equal. We did better than any operational framework before us, but we didn't reach the level of ambition that we set out to ourselves. So we said that, okay, we really need to understand what is the status quo of gender in WASM. So we commissioned a study and got great support from the World Scout Bureau to gather some numbers on this, because this hadn't really been done. We didn't really know about what are the hard facts, and many of these facts are very visible. I mean, look at any group photo from any regional conference or any World Scout committee meeting, or well, any occasion where World Scouting is seen in a photo, and you'll see men, and maybe a woman, and then so I mean, there's a lot there that can be unpacked, and that's just, you know, the optics. So if you dig deeper, you know, one thing that we saw was that over the course of the past couple of decades, from 2002 to 2017, if you look at both the World Scout Conference and the World Scout Youth Forum, only 25. So in 2017, only 25.5% of the participants in the conference and youth forum were women. But this had increased by 65% over those years. So from 2002 to 2017. So there's an increase, but obviously it's happening quite slowly. What we see is that the representation of women is much higher in the World Scout Youth Forum. It's at 40% in the World Scout Youth Forum, and just about 25% in the World Scout Conference. So increased youth participation generally means increased gender balance. What we also see is that the roles of the conference, you know, women are more likely to be observers than delegates. Men are more likely to be delegates than observers. And if we look at the World Scout Committee, we can see between 2002 and 2020 that 21% only of the voting members of the World Scout Committee are women. So these are the hard facts. This is the data. There's lots more to talk about there. But beyond the data, we've also talked about experiences, what you just described. And I think that's really key here, because numbers is not everything. And you can have a completely gender balanced committee in terms of numbers, but women might still not have the same influence. You still don't really understand the power dynamics, just as with the young people in the committee. So I think listening to those experiences and having some really hard conversations within the committee, where we have been able to listen to colleagues in senior leadership positions in WASM and try to understand better what this means and what are the obstacles. And the fact is that women, and particularly young women, face a huge bunch of invisible obstacles. They oftentimes need to work harder to be listened to and to get into leadership positions. So this is something we need to keep unpacking, and these conversations are hard, but we need to keep them going. And then the last point on institutions is that I think, you know, we realize how far we have to go, and the responsibility we carry as an organization to continue having these introspective, sometimes difficult conversations. And what is encouraging is that with increased youth participation comes increased gender balance, generally speaking. So I hope we can see a more diverse World Scout Committee in the future, and World Scout Conference and Youth Forum in general. So let's see where this one takes us. I'm looking forward to looking at those hard facts and experiences afterwards. So thanks, Jemima, for that little chat. And I think I'm going to leave it to Amal now, and we're going to think a little bit about intergenerational dialogues. So over to you, Amal.
Yeah, thanks, Julius. Thanks, Jemima. Indeed, thank you for the work done throughout the training. But we all recognize that there is still a lot to do when it comes to this. Now, in an equally important thematic, and especially in this intergenerational dialogue we're doing now, and I'm pleased to have this conversation with Peter. So, hi there, Peter.
Hi, Amal. The button wasn't working. Maybe that's one of the problems with intergenerational dialogue.
Oh, come on. You're so good in that. Okay, Peter. So during the past 4 years and since our election in Azerbaijan, speaking about intergenerational dialogue, how do you think we have or we're able to exemplify this intergenerational dialogue and partnerships within our World Scouts Committee?
Thanks, Amal. That's a great question. And I think the first thing that we need to acknowledge is how well our member organisations did that when they were voting for the World Scout Committee, both from the Youth Forum with the Youth Advisors and also the 12 elected members of the World Scout Committee, because we truly go from a very young age to a much older age. And I think that that shows the diversity that we have in the Scout movement. I think there's 4 main things that have really helped our World Scout Committee in this triennium to reflect on intergenerational dialogue. And they're really what I would say are principles of good committee management. The first thing that we have is that we have a team charter, and we all together developed that team charter that outlined how we would operate, what we expected, what we would do in meetings, what we would do outside of meetings, how we would arrive wherever possible at consensus through dialogue. And I think that having groups establish their own team charter where their simple operating principles can be developed and agreed is really, really critical. Another way that's really, really effective, I believe, is that as we've gone virtual, and even before we were virtual, when we were still meeting face-to-face, we had some virtual meetings where we just discussed individual topics. Another way that we also used was being able to access different training programs. Some of the great training that was done through Messengers of Peace, the Dialogue for Peace, the CASED work that didn't only look at solidarity, but recognised the importance of intercultural dialogue with our solidarity programs and our Dialogue for Peace. So these were all very, very formal ways and active ways that we could engage. And I think one of the most critical ways from my perspective, and I know that I'm sure Jemima will agree, is the social activities that we got to engage in and the wonderful spirit of cooperation that we all had as a team. That whilst we worked very, very hard, we also played hard together and we recognised one another for what they were able to bring. So Amal, after that, I'm going to ask you now, from the oldest member of the World Scout Committee to one of the youngest, what else do you think we could do?
Yeah, thank you, Peter. And I think I'm actually the youngest, so we're doing it really well. And you reminded me of a lot of good times to remember throughout the triennium, be it from the social activities or the different conversations we had. Indeed, so the uniqueness and membership of our movement makes the intergenerational partnerships a key question to think about, to take care about, and to make sure we have, to make sure to ensure youth engagement and diversity and inclusion. And Peter, I think you named a lot of the good practices where we exemplified this in the triennium. And I think as a first step, it's important to make sure to inspire and guide the implementation of these good practices to regional, national, and local levels. We all know it's not always easy to put a name forward for an official position when it's a young name, and as youth advisors or as dependent on where each one of us come and dependent on our background, we might have witnessed this in some sorts. So it's important to inspire local, national, and regions to follow the examples, to have a team charter, to have dedicated time focused to discuss such thematics. That it's important to share best practices among NSOs and regions, and I think this is what we're trying to do in some ways now. This will help change existing misperceptions and social stigmas that unfortunately have always been there. And I know we're evolving, but there is still a lot to do when it comes to this. I'll believe all of these and many other thoughts I'm sure we all in this conversation have are important steps towards a complementarity between the generations that will combine all generations and their expertise, rather than a continuous competition that might be, of course, energetic and dynamic, but might be at some point toxic. So I hope we all get to a more complementarity in the movement. Thank you, Peter, and thank you all. I think this is it for our talk today. And I think I'm going to hand over back again to Mori.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was indeed a very nice discussions between different generations and between different cultural backgrounds.
Thank you very much for that wonderful exchange of experiences. So we have now come to the end of this part of the Youth Forum, and I hope that you have learned about what is it to be a youth advisor and some of the discussions that we have. We are now going to listen to some young people sharing their expectations for our forum. Please also share with us in the live discussion or the chat your own expectations.
Hello, my name is Anastasia and I'm serving the Eurasia Scout Committee as Youth Advisor. For the World Scout Youth Forum, I have the expectation that this event would bring together young people from all over the regions to take part in shaping the post-pandemic movement, as well as to address its sustainability and adapting to the new realities. As well, I expect that participants would have fun and truly feel the event spirit. I'm looking forward to meeting you soon.
Manaone, je me nomme Madina. Je représente la Fédération du scoutisme de Madagascar et je fais partie de la délégation de notre OSN pour le 40th All Scout of Forum. En tant que représentant des jeunes à cet forum, nous tenons à vous partager que nous sommes engagés à prendre part à cet événement mondial afin de réaffirmer que les jeunes ont un rôle à jouer dans la prise de décision et le développement du scoutisme sur plusieurs niveaux. Malgré la distance à la pandémie, ensemble, gardons haut et fort notre fraternité scout en ligne. Bonne conférence à tous. Manja Pioni.
Hey everyone, my name is Ruhi Rusaba. I'm from Bangladesh. I'm really looking forward to and excited about the 14th World Scouts Youth Forum this August. We've all been going through the COVID-19 pandemic together, and together, I believe, we'll formulate impactful solutions and effective work plan to help the scouting world get back on track. I can't wait to experience the great diversity this first ever virtual World Scout Youth Forum will offer with the participation from every NSO. Let's enjoy the forum.
Hello all, my name is Michelle Abdirali. I'm from Saudi Arabia Scout Association for Females. First of all, I would like to say that I'm really thrilled to be part of the world's largest Scout conference ever. Second of all, my expectation for this upcoming forum is that The theme is all about bridging the world together. So I'm quite sure we're going to learn more about the Sustainable Development Goals and how we all over the world are going to be united together to work on the same ideas, same themes, to have a better future for our Mother Earth.
Hi everyone, this is Jimena. I'm Youth Advisor for the Inter-American Scout region. And although I think this World Scout Youth Forum is going to be a great challenge, I expect innovation, I expect fun, friendship, and to show our resilience, to show we can bring the best out of a complicated situation like the one the whole world has been put in the last year and a half or so. I expect the best.
Hello, my name is Martin, and for the past 4 years I had the pleasure of serving on our World Scout Committee. From young people for this youth forum, I expect them to claim their rights in the decision making of our movement. I expect them to argue, I expect them to disagree, but ultimately to come together so that we jointly can make the best decisions for our movement.
Thank you for sharing your expectations with us. I hope that they will be met. Bear in mind, once again, that this is the first virtual forum, so please be patient with us. Now, we are ready to keep diving into our youth forum. To help you achieve all of these expectations, I want you to present your new best friend of this forum, the Personal Action Plan. The Personal Action Plan is like a diary of participants. It is a journey having a starting point and an ending point. This will serve to inspire action in your year immediately after the World Scout Youth Forum. The journey will consist of several stations, and each station will have certain guiding questions for you. These 6 stations of the Personal Action Plan are shown in the presentation that you're seeing. The first station is self-assessment. Here, you will get to know yourselves a little bit better, analyze your strengths and weaknesses, so you would know how to address the challenges and risks that you might encounter throughout your path. This will be completed during this first day of the forum, today. Don't forget to complete that. The second station, forum experience. Here you will share the best practices and get to know each other and interact with each other. This will be completed during days 2 and 3 of the forum. In station 3, you will assess the needs of your National Scout organization from a youth perspective, which should also be completed during the days 2 and 3 of the forum. Station 4, my personal action plan. Here you will put in practice your project management skills and design your future project to implement back home. At this stage, it is important to consider your NSO's needs and to think of a project or initiative that would benefit scouts in your country, related to the topics of youth engagement, integration of SDGs, innovation, etc. At the station number 5, which is named Where I've Been and Where I Am Now as an Individual, we would like you to recognize how much you grew in terms of your personal development and what new skills you acquired during the forum. Finally, after 6 months or 1 year after the forum concludes, you will complete station number 6, impact of your project. I am sure that you are all excited to start working on your personal action plan. As I said, this is going to be your best friend for the forum. So please don't forget to download this diary template from scoutconference.org in this link that is shown on screen. You can complete your personal action plan as you progress in the forum, and you will be sharing some of these reflections within your international teams. However, this is personal, so only you will be able to see it. Take advantage of that to take all the notes that will be useful for you in the near future. and that will allow you to innovate and create a project. In day 4 of the forum, you will be sharing more on your project in a session. So please make sure that you start answering the different stations throughout the forum so that you can engage better in that session. So it is the moment to start our personal action plan. To keep the motivation and inspiration flowing, we have prepared a couple of questions for you to reflect on your starting point. We have called this the Personal Action Plan Entry Survey. So you're now seeing the link in the presentation, and should be also be dropped out in the live discussion. So once you get the link, we encourage you to take a few moments to answer this survey. We will continue as you answer the survey. Please notice that it should be on the chat. And as organizers of this event, we are always looking for ways to improve your experience for the days to come and for future events. Your feedback is needed, particularly for these first fully virtually global scouting events, where we expect to learn from good practices being applied and also from our mistakes. So there are 4 ways that you can share your thoughts with us. So please get involved as much as you can. The first way is to rate the plenary sessions and the workshops at the end of each session. Secondly, you can take part in the daily questionnaire, which will be sent along with the daily highlights email. Third, you may volunteer to participate in one of the focus group discussions to tell us about your experience and suggestions for improvement. And lastly, you will be invited to participate in an evaluation survey at the end of the event. Dear friends, we have come to the end of this plenary session for today. However, there are more activities that will continue, and we invite you to participate in the rest of the sessions of the agenda. The next topic is a fun game that will help us to know each other better and discover more about WASM, which is called the Foundations Rally Game. After that, we will gather in our international teams. And the purpose of the international teams is to make new friends, share experiences, reflect, and learn together. At the end of each plenary sessions, at the end of each plenary session, you will have the chance to be with your diverse team, with participants from all over the world. We would like to remind you to use International Teams program in order to join the correct breakout room to meet your international team members. When joining your international team session, please note the following. The first thing, check your email. You receive an email introducing you to your international team. And check what team number you were placed in. So that you can look that in the session of the agenda. Number 2, go to the session on the agenda, which includes your international team. For example, if you are team number 55, you can join the session called International Teams 51 to 60. Here you have an example, okay? So you need to join the breakout depending on the number of your international team. Once you see the breakout room, you select the room that is the same as your team number. There should be no more than 8 people in one team. If you end up in a room that is not your number, please leave the session and rejoin in the appropriate room. Please do not use WhatsApp or other social platforms to the team meetings in the agenda. Your international team will also be the group that you will closely working with in the next few days to build the Youth Forum Declaration and also to submit proposals for the draft resolutions. If you have any questions regarding the international teams, please reach out to the help desk in the platform. We hope you are as excited as we are in this setting and that you can take this opportunity to make friends that will, trust me, they will last forever. We kindly ask you also to select a team lead for your international team. You need to do that in the meeting today. After selecting your team leader, please share the information about who he or she is, and you should share this information before 6 p.m. GMT today. You can find a form for submitting the information on the Conference and Youth Forum website. And now also in the discussion forum. Please look for that link. We would also like to remind you that as during an in-person youth forum, we want to give you some time to meet and greet to the new youth advisor candidates. Later in the evening and tomorrow morning, depending where you are in the globe, you will have the opportunity to join 2 60-minute sessions to meet and greet all the candidates. Feel free to ask them all of your questions. For these sessions, you are encouraged also to go in and out from different candidate sessions to have the opportunity to meet as many candidates as you would like. Make sure you start all the sessions that you're interested in, so that they will appear in your preferred agenda, and you don't lose time searching for the candidate session. Dear friends, I now adjourn this plenary session. We will meet again tomorrow at 12 noon GMT. Thank you all for a great start of this 14th World Scout Youth Forum. See you in the Foundations Rally game that will be starting soon. Please go to the agenda session and the platform so that you can find the session. Remember, you can reach out to the platform in the help desk if you have some questions or request any support. And remember also to use all the links and the participants guide, which is document 5. Thank you very much.
See you tomorrow.